Well, today I'd like to share just a bit about our bigger vision and picture. Now, evangelism, what do we mean? We need to inform people, firstly, but of course we're hoping that they come to a point where they commit their life to Christ. Now, when we talk about discipleship, what we're hoping is, it's a little hard to see the outcomes because only God really knows what's going on in their heart. But what we're hoping to see is that they are going to church more. Maybe they're reading or listening to the Bible more. Hopefully that their prayer life increases. And finally, that we really see a change in their life. And we have seen this through, some of your video ministries. We just heard a whole bunch of people in Omgoi decided to try to quit methamphetamines. Sometimes we get stuck in the details of what we're doing, but when we step back and look at it, this is what we hope to see. But of course, because we're a video ministry, we started with productions. So we started with productions in giving you equipment and training, and that's where Project Video really tried to come alongside, just to get something out there for your people groups. I'm speeding through this part because I think you know it already, but here is just a little bit about the different type of groups that we're trying to, or you guys really are trying to reach. Because we know that in your tribe or whoever speaks the same language, they're not all the same. So we can break it down in this way, perhaps, that they're on a journey of knowledge and of believing. So perhaps at the bottom, like the 0% part, if they have a 0% of knowing and a 0% of believing, we can probably say that actually, maybe they're not really Christians. Or they're unreached is another way to say it. Then, for example, if they have a higher level of knowledge, like maybe they're nearer the 100% mark, this is knowledge about being a Christian, about the faith, about the gospel, but they still are closer to the 0% of believing, then, well, we can probably suggest that there's something in their life that is rejecting what they have learnt about. I just called it anti-Christian, but they may not be anti. It may just be that in their environment, in their culture, they're forced to, it'll be very hard for them to accept Jesus. Now, if they're closer to the right-hand side, where actually they believe, but still their knowledge is low, then perhaps we might call them new Christians. And then obviously if they're higher on the knowledge, they have learnt a lot, and also they have committed to a life in Christ, then perhaps we can call them mature Christians. So we can see that within each culture, it's not just one same group. There may be 4 different types of viewers. So how does this affect us when we're thinking about who's going to watch our videos? We have these 4 groups: the unreached, the anti-Christian, the new Christian, the mature Christian. Well, it may affect the types of videos that we make. So we have seen, now that we have been working for a while, and we have made some productions, that honestly, if you are from a group that is unreached or anti-Christian, in the same way that we probably don't really want to sit down and watch a movie about the life of Muhammad, they may not really want to sit down and just watch something that is just preaching very directly. So from ARPAN in India, we've heard animation. Just because it's not a real person, but it's a cartoon, it could be more accepted. Or when it's a dramatic story like we talked about yesterday, and you're watching characters and their life story unfold, but it's fiction, people get absorbed in by the story. And honestly, everybody just likes to listen to music, so that's why that works for music videos. And for testimonies, honestly, if there's a need in their life, like they need healing or they need help to get out of debt, many people will be happy to watch a testimony of someone else who has overcome that same problem. So I'm sure there's a lot more types of videos than this, but this is just some of the things that we've seen that work for those who are low on the belief scale. And then on the other side, we have those who are high on the belief scale but need discipleship. And this is going to be who's really happy to sit down and watch the entire life of Jesus, who needs the Bible studies, who needs the preaching, and will actually watch somebody just talking at them. And testimonies are probably just encouraging all the time. Now, I'm not saying it's this clear. I think sometimes these videos will work for either group, but there is a tendency for more acceptance of one type of video to the other, depending on where they are in their belief. And so this is why we have been training you through all the levels of video making, in the hope that you will be able to make everything that your people group might need to grow in the knowledge and in their belief. All right, so we covered production right there. So let's say for Project Video, for probably the first 5 years, we really focused on just getting you guys the technology and the skills to actually make videos. Frankly, we're growing together, really. And we hit, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, a realization that now you have many videos, we really need to focus on how you're going to get them out. And so at that point, we began a distribution department. And so, you know, there's been a real switch in technology. So we used to do DVDs, and some of you got duplicators. And I feel like somewhere around 5 or 6 years ago, there was a sudden flip, and no one was watching DVDs or TVs anymore. Suddenly, all our duplicators just came back to our office. And the way that people watched videos jumped to the phone or on their computer, and so they needed to be distributed via social media. And so I know many of you were here at our social media workshop 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and you've developed your own pages, and we've just seen such a boom in that. There's the whole internet between me, who made the video, and you, who might be watching, and we may not know each other at all. So that's a whole nother level of difficulty in trying to evangelize and to disciple, because we still have our physical distribution methods like projectors, and there's still a strong live crusade. Let's get everybody sit down and watch the one film together. And that's much easier to disciple, because if somebody puts up their hand to receive Christ, you can grab them physically and make them go to church. So for those countries that the governments are particularly anti-Christian, SD cards, some of the evangelists told me, oh, if we get caught with them, we'll just swallow them. And then we got a request from one of our teams in a very rural area, and they said, so we can't afford to have a pastor in each village. We also can't afford to, not everybody has a smartphone. And also, their people can't read. Even though the Bible was translated, you can't really give it out. So we launched into a completely new thing of just audio players. But mostly because there's no technology right now that has a cheap personal video player. Yeah, so just audio players. So that's available to all our teams, by the way, if you want to start distributing MP3 players. But anyway, for these physical things that you give out, you see that person face to face. So it's much easier to disciple them because you know who you gave it to. Today we kind of want to tackle, how do you follow up on particularly the people that you don't see? Because many of you have had that experience already. You posted a video, and then 100 people sent you an emoji. Or I know for the Lahu, they put Ajahn Preacher's phone number on the end of the film of John. And Ajahn Preacher is such a busy man, but he's getting calls every day from Laos and China and Vietnam. It's a one-man call center. So we need to figure out a way to disciple these people. Because in the end, after they watch the videos, they come usually with two things. They either have a question, or they want prayer for something. But for us, what we really want is not just to answer their immediate question or their immediate prayer. We really want to get them into fellowship, because you guys on the media team are not going to be able to disciple like the 500 people that are following your page, or in some cases, the 10,000 that have liked your page. But we're part of the global church, so what we need to do is get our churches to come alongside and be discipling these people who are watching our videos. We need to somehow connect them with somebody who can mentor and disciple them, and that's probably a pastor or an elder. So I have invited Ajahn Ray Dai to come. So he's been pioneering how do we reach out online with these social media distribution methods. So I'm going to hand over to him so that he can share.
So we had 6,000 hours of people watching our videos last year. And most of that is not because I spend money, just people just watching anyway. So our most popular video is Genesis. And this one is interesting. The number 2 video is actually a car mechanic here in Chiang Mai. I don't think he went to seminary. He sent me this video. I don't like it. It's too long. So, but I put it on there anyway, and it's over 1,000 hours, people watching it. So we sometimes just need to try things, let God work it out, let the Holy Spirit work it out. Yeah. So we are following, like I said, we encourage people to talk to us. And here's Messenger, different people talk to us, and we usually use voicemail because sometimes people don't have the keyboard. Yeah, we also tried chatbot. So this is not difficult, but we just have a picture because, again, people might not able to read. So if they choose, I don't know Jesus, they will get something like this. They will see, oh great, here's a video, tell you more about Jesus. What do you think? Yeah, if they respond to that, then we remember their information and we try to get back to them. Just now I hear the pastor put his number on the video. Yeah, so that can help them as well. So this is the idea of filtering. Yeah, not everybody come in is really interested, so we want to talk to those people who are. I recently heard a lady in Bangkok, she's reaching out to the Thai people. So the way she does it is in her video, in the bottom, she said, if you want to know more, join our Line group. She actually made a Line group. But we also need to just have an online group because many places have no churches.
Okay, so that is the discipleship, the follow-up. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the feedback. In each of your Facebook pages or most social media, there is a way to see who likes or which videos is most popular. It's usually under the button that's called Insights. So this is our Facebook page, which the target audience is not people in Asia. Our Facebook page runs in English, so it's probably America and Australia looking at it. I mean, first up is the spotlight, but on the third is Borat. I think that's your face up here. I think in fourth place is some of the guys from Burma. Yeah, and down here, the sixth is, I think it's Mac Isan, but I think it's the behind the scenes of Mac Isan with that movie that Om directed. So I can easily tell what they like is testimonies of what you guys are doing or looking to see what are you guys doing when you're running around filming. Now for you guys, what you want to do is look at your insights and ask yourself which videos are not only popular but also effective. You don't want just popular because cat videos are extremely popular in video but they're not leading anyone to Christ. So which one do people like watching and are leading them to Christ? So like Ajahn Ray mentioned, putting a call to action on the end of the videos. If you have a call to action, then it's pretty easy to tell if people are doing what your video told them to do. For example, if at the end of the video you say, hey, like our page and send us a message, and the next day after you post you have 100 messages, well, your video worked. And then the tricky part is judging which videos help them to believe or to grow in their faith. And that's where you need to connect with your discipleship team, which I hope you've developed. Just going back to one of Ray Dai's slides, so you need a discipleship team of evangelists. And when it says marketing, it means you test to see which one works. That's what marketing does. And then for the technical skill, we know that it is tricky, so that is why we have Ajahn Ray Dai. And we'll start teaching how do you run these chats and set them up. So the hope is that we have a complete circle like this. You have made the videos, that's production, and then you have managed to follow them up, whether it's via social or physically introducing them to somebody who takes them to church. And then you have assessed what has been the response to each of your videos. So what you get from the feedback should be helping you decide what is your next production. So for example, for us, I looked at it, and every video that's high has an Asian face on it. Let's push Om, let's push a guy, let's push anybody else. So that's what I got from our feedback. What you can get when reading yours is, okay, what are they wanting to see? Because in the end, what we're trying to aim for is the evangelism and the discipleship of our people group. So I hope that this helps bring the bigger picture of it all together.